I'm sure there are plenty of Alabama fans that would like to feel like the Tide are back after their win at Georgia, that this was the moment, this was the breakthrough, ended the winning streak and all this sort of stuff. Going into this game, I felt like Alabama had the formula to beat Georgia because I think from a team profile standpoint, they're kind of similar to Tennessee, who I think is a good team. I think Alabama has figured out how to be a good team. Whether or not they figured out how to be a great team again that can go win the SEC remains to be seen. But hey, they don't have a conference loss yet. That first loss of the year was Florida State. Doesn't impact their ability to go to the SEC title game. And we know if you get there, you're automatically into the playoff. And that's what Kalen DeBoer has to do to save his job. If he does not make the playoff this year, I do not believe he will or should be the head coach at Alabama for 2026. But that conversation is onto the back burner. It is not, you didn't hit the stop button on the VCR, you hit the pause button. And you're going to come back to it another time. So let's go to this game against Georgia, which relative to how I'm sure plenty of Alabama fans felt, I didn't speak to them all personally, I downplayed. I said, well, this is a good win. This is a good vibes win. It is not the highest vibes. Even though it was a huge game, you ended Georgia's home winning streak, you start SEC play 1-0. I watched this game and thought, what if Kirby Smart kicks the field goal and that game goes to overtime, which he should have done? What if Georgia doesn't drop another touchdown pass? And I know Ryan Williams had a big drop in this game. That's been a problem a bit so far this season. It just felt like Alabama played well enough. Didn't feel like they played great. But there are two things that I try to be honest when I come on this show as best as I can. Two things that I did not mention in my initial reaction to this particular game that should be brought up. Number one, Alabama was 13 of 19 on third down in this game. Now, you'll hear a lot of coaches correctly tell you that third down success on either side of the ball is primarily, not entirely, but primarily a function of what you do on first and second down, rather, because 3rd and 3 is a lot easier for an offense than 3rd and 8, which is a better spot for the defense to be in. So when you look at a box score and see, wow, this team dominated on third down, or if you're watching a game and you're seeing, okay, this team is just getting on, keeping their offense on the field over and over and over again, it could be one of two things. It's probably both of those things. The reason that is particularly encouraging for Alabama fans in this spot is that on the road, they were looking like what Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb did to the Pac-12, RIP, for their 2 years in the conference up in Seattle. This was their hallmark. And they played plenty of close games. And they had a pocket passer at quarterback in Michael Penix. Now they've got Ty Simpson, who looked good again on Saturday on the road. You have to be encouraged by what Ty Simpson has done ever since that Florida State game and what the offensive line has been able to do. But one of the hallmarks of those great Washington teams, and one of the reasons, amongst many, that people felt, hey, this Kalen DeBoer guy can really coach. I mean, he is a darn good. He and Ryan Grubb are just incredible. They were good on third down in the biggest games all the time. And situationally, they were really good. And that's something that I've pointed out in the past has been a problem for Kalen DeBoer's Alabama teams. They haven't been good situationally. They haven't kept the offense on the field, and other teams have been way too easily been able to keep their offenses on the field. Of course, that doesn't have to do with Ryan Grubb, the offense coordinator. That has to do with Kane Womack and the defensive staff. Oh, look, Georgia was 2 of 8 on third down in this game and 0 for 1 on fourth down. Both teams missed their only fourth down attempt in this one. So that's a really encouraging sign, number one, that I didn't acknowledge previously. And once I realized that, I went, yeah, that's kind of how this looked. That's kind of why we thought this would translate. That's what really good coaching looks like. So you can execute in those spots. Okay, that's number one. Number two, another criticism that has been correctly made of Kalen DeBoer's Alabama team this year and last year is that they commit a lot of penalties. And that proves to be really costly. And it seems like they commit penalties in really untimely situations, and it thwarts offensive drives. It keeps drives alive. In this game, on the road, 4 penalties for 16 yards. Those two things tell me a lot about the Crimson Tide. Now, again, I still feel like though Alabama put on a much better performance on Saturday night in Athens, that they're still a ways away from where they are supposed to be. Saturday night was a step in the right direction. But if Scottie Scheffler should be shooting even par in the first round of the U.S. Open, and he's 4 over at the turn, and Kalen DeBoer is Scottie Scheffler in this analogy, he did not make back-to-back eagles by beating Georgia. He made a birdie, which is great, because he didn't make a birdie on the front 9. Now he's got one. You got to start somewhere. Most often, it starts with 1. Now you need to make it 2, because they've got game day coming to town this week with Vanderbilt in your own stadium for college game day. That's, you know what? Round of applause. Round of applause for Clark Lee and the Vanderbilt Commodores, man. They are number 16 in the country. They deserve every inch of that ranking. They will probably wind up being slightly higher in my rankings that I will release at some point this week. Vanderbilt is 5-0 and a good football team with a good quarterback who's really easy to root for. And then they're going to Tuscaloosa to try and win their second straight against Kalen DeBoer. Wild stuff. It's wild, wild stuff, but it's great. Alabama still has to play Vanderbilt. At Missouri, that's a hard game. Those are their next 2 matchups. You've got Tennessee at home for the 3rd Saturday in October, at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, who at number 5 is overrated, by the way, East Illinois, and Auburn, who doesn't look very good, as we talked about earlier on the show. So they've made the first birdie that they need, but they have to make 3 more to get back to even par. 10-2 in the regular season, that's where it should be. Now, if Alabama goes 9-3, 2 SEC losses, but they get into the conference championship game, they win it and get the automatic berth, that'll be enough. If I were Alabama, I would feel a heck of a lot better if going into the SEC title game, you were only worried about winning to play a worse team seeding-wise, because we've got straight seeding now finally in college football, and not win or we're not into the college football playoff. I'll just throw that out there. I wanted to close with a couple thoughts on the ACC because Alabama does factor into this discussion. Remember when they lost to Florida State and Florida State got ranked inside the top 10? Deservedly so. Because, well, they beat a preseason top 10 team. That's how this should work. Did you see what happened to Florida State on Friday night? Hope you did. I had a reaction show up to it. It was quite the game. They lost to Virginia. They lost to Virginia. Epic field storming, incredible vibes in Charlottesville, and Chandler Morris is out there, former TCU and Oklahoma. I think it was Oklahoma, North Texas. I don't even know. He's been to a bunch of different schools, bottom line. And he beats top 10 Florida State. Landmark win for Tony Elliott's team in the ACC. How does that Alabama loss look now? Because last week, entering Friday night, it was, well, they lost, but look, see, Florida State's been impressive since they beat Alabama, so Florida State was just really, really good. What if Alabama gets into an at-large resume discussion? You suddenly have to worry about what happens with Florida State going forward. And the perception of the ACC, not good. Why? Because the ACC, not off to a great start. Anybody think Virginia is a serious player? Maybe they're about to shock the world after beating Florida State. I suspect not, but hey, I've been wrong before. But now the ACC is working its way into Big 12 territory. Who's your at-large team going to be? Louisville's undefeated. They might be they and UNLV are the worst 4-0 teams in all of college football. Louisville and the Rebels, they have scraped by. They have not played great ball all the time. Like, their record looks good. They're not very good. Georgia Tech, possibly. That's entirely possible. I mean, sure, at the moment they don't have a win over a current ranked team because Clemson has fallen off the face of the earth. I'm fascinated to see. Just keep your eye on this dynamic as the year goes on. Georgia Tech could be the reason the ACC gets the second team into the playoff. I think we would all love to watch Haynes King play in a college football playoff game. Dude would absolutely, positively put it on the line. No matter what, he does it every week. It'd be awesome to see in a playoff environment. But the ACC, Virginia beating Florida State, and the Seminoles losing that game, let's see how they respond. Because if they don't respond in a big way, suddenly it's going to be another knock against the ACC. And in a 12-team playoff, in a year where Notre Dame probably doesn't get in because they lost their first 2 games of the year, you could see 10, well, you have the group of 5 in there as well. You could see 9 Big Ten SEC teams in the playoff. That is not unthinkable whatsoever. It is not an unreasonable thing. Georgia Tech's got to keep winning for the sake of the ACC. And maybe Florida State too. Maybe the ACC gets 3 teams in. I don't know. We'll see. That's it for today's show. Another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation, alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.